Hey, fourth grade, it's Miss Johnston here. Welcome back. Thank you so much for still watching these YouTubes. You guys are building those big, beautiful brains up. I hope you guys are having a great day. I miss you. I wish we were in class. But since we aren't, let's get started with our lesson. We should be on the DCPS packet day 3. I'm going to switch our screen to show you what it should look like. It should look like this. So you're going to have this inquiry chart here, and it should look like that. We're also going to be using our text, so get your text out as well if you don't already have it out. So I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds to make that happen. Pause your video and get your materials out. Go ahead and make that happen for me. All right, today our tasks are going to be 1, to answer our questions from day 1 and take notes on those. 2, to summarize what we've learned, and we're going to do that at the end. And 3, to revisit that text focusing question that I've said that we're going to kind of have throughout our week, just like we do during RW in class. Okay. So first, when we're revisiting those questions from day 1, remember how we had those 4 questions that we made day 1, and you might have had 4 different ones than me, or you might have used my 4, which is A-okay. We're going to take notes on this inquiry chart. And you notice this inquiry chart that they gave us, the boxes are they really small or are they big? Yeah, they're teensy tiny. And so we're going to have to use our note-taking strategies because we don't have room to take full, complete sentences notes here. We're going to have to use our symbols and our other note-taking strategies as we take notes on this text. So as we move through Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and Act 4, we're going to have to think about each act as we answer each 4 of our questions. So I'm going to demonstrate here just with my first question, what do the women do to make things better in America? So I found two pieces of evidence for this one in Act 1. One thing that women do to make things better in America is they suggested that the colonies build their own factories. So all the factories aren't in England, some of the factories are in America. And then that will also make things better because then they'll be creating jobs in America. So people have jobs, they'll have more money, and not only are they building factories to have American goods instead of just English goods, they'll also have more jobs. So you see, I've put red boxes around my 2 things of the way the way women made things better in America, and that was answering question 1, and this was just in Act 1. I'm now going to have to go to Act 2 to find evidence in Act 2 from question 1, Act 3 for question 1, and Act 4 for question 1. I did that here, so you can see I have all my ways that women made things better in America. And I'm going to get out of screen share so I can make this a little bigger for you guys. So in Act 2, they said that they ignored the taxes, like they ignored the Stamp Act. They also protested. They said that they were going to demand fair treatment, by doing things like saying they're going to send the stamps back, or they're even going to destroy them if they weren't going to get treated fairly. And Act 3, I read that they were going to boycott English tea. What did boycott mean? Remember we learned about boycott? What does that mean? And which heroic figure did we learn that led boycotts? Comment below. Which heroic figure led boycotts, and what does boycott mean? Act 4, was also a protest, and this protest was the Boston Tea Party, where they destroyed tea by throwing it into the harbor. So each of these are examples of what they did to make America a better place. Notice they are all actions. because they are what they did. So I'm going to put this right on my question. What did they do to make America a better place? And I'm going to put all my answers right here. Notice how all my answers were note style, so they could fit in those little itty bitty lines on our inquiry chart. See how these are these little skinny, it says the Q and then the skinny lines. So that's that. All right. Question 2 that I came up with was the where in the colonies did women support the cause for freedom. So this was kind of easy because there's a really nice text feature at the top of each act. You see, I just circled it and said where. So I, on my notes, just put each of the cities' names. So you see Boston, Providence, Rhode Island, Edenton, and Boston Harbor. So I have all my wheres here. My third question was asking why women support the cause for freedom. So why were they looking to get free from England in the first place? So I was going through all 4 acts, and again, I was trying to find all the evidence to support my claim that women were supporting the cause for freedom. Why were they doing this? 1, to keep money and business in America, having to pay taxes in England, but there was no representation for them in England. And this wasn't fair that they were paying all this money, but no one was representing their interests in England. And then in Act 3, there was high taxes on tea, and then there was control of where the tea was being sold. And so England had all these rules of who could sell the tea and where they could sell the tea. And so they were just controlling all these things in the colonies, and they were like, this was not fair. So they really wanted freedom because, again, they just felt like it really wasn't fair. Act 4, the merchants were being charged really high prices for the goods that they were being forced to sell and pay high taxes on. So again, there's this common thread through all these things of they felt like they were being treated really unfairly. So I kind of put that at the bottom because I was kind of summarizing all my thoughts there. Okay, so I have my notes up there. And then my last question were how, put my computer up, how did the women help the American colonies during the Revolution? So what things were they specifically doing to help the colonies? Were they organizing? Were they protesting? What were they doing? Were they sewing? What specifically did this text say that they were doing? So in Act 1, I took notes that said they worked together to create jobs. Act 2, they asked questions. They said, what are we going to do about it? So they were probing each other's thinking. I put this because that was a really important thing that this author included, and I think that's important for us scholars to understand is asking questions is a really important thing to do, to pose that to our peers. What should we do about it? What are we going to do about it when something gets tough? Because that's how good ideas are generated. Act 3, they decided to brew American tea. They said no more English tea. We got to get our own tea, our own American tea, to support themselves and not support England, support themselves in their new country. They were going to send around a declaration. So they were getting organized, saying, you know, we're only supporting American tea, not English tea. And they called it the Daughters of Liberty. So they were giving themselves a name. And then they were organized and they were planning a protest to send a message to England. So that's another way of how they were doing it. They were doing things very intentionally and very thought through and organized. So there were the answers there. Okay. So thinking through all of our answers, our very last thing, whoopsie daisy, our very last thing that we are being asked to do is summarize what I have learned. This play is mainly about. So based on everything we've just talked about, the what, the where, the why, and the how, what is this play mostly about? I was to say, I would answer, I would think of all of my common themes for all my answers and put that into my summary. I want you guys to pause the video and think about what you would put into your summary. Go ahead and think about what you would put into your summary. Share out in 3, in 2, in 1. Let's go back to our text focusing question. Leading up to the American Revolution, how did women support the cause for freedom? So how were they supporting this cause for freedom? What types of things were they doing? How were they doing them? Why were they doing them? So I would look at all of your notes you've gathered, everything you've annotated in the text, all your most important details, and put that in your summary sentence at the bottom. I want you to either comment your summary sentence below or text it to Mr. Freeman or myself, okay? Or you can text a picture of your paper if you don't want to retype it. I'm so excited to read these summary sentences, and I'll see you guys tomorrow in a video for planning your guys' project. I'm so excited. On my video, we're going to plan the project option. That's the comic strip. So I'm really, really, really excited. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.